everybody. Courtney here. So great to have you listening to today's episode of the Connected Spirit podcast. Really pumped about today's episode. And my next guest, I really believe, was divinely guided into my path, or mine, hers, because I really was looking for this topic of today's topic, a psychic medium who also does paranormal investigations, but I really want to get into the nitty gritty. And your girl found somebody who has checked all of the boxes. So let me introduce you to her. Her name is Cindy Mah. She is the founder of Soul Provider, Healing Arts and Spiritual Works. She's based in New Westminster, BC, Canada. She's a fellow Canadian. Cindy is a gifted Reiki master and an intuitive healer. She's also a psychic medium, and she has several years as a paranormal investigator to her arsenal. Her journey as a spirit and light worker began in her mid-20s through a series of different awakenings, and her development actually began around 2017, where she really received this nudge to move forward in her journey towards becoming a Reiki master and then a medium. And Cindy took the opportunity to be trained with gifted local mediums as well as the United Kingdom. And she is sharing her love of working with spirit wherever she goes, whether that's through healing or doing private one-to-one sessions. Cindy can be found in and around her home base at the First United Spiritualist Church in Burnaby, BC. And she is speaking there. She's facilitating programs. She's promoting spiritualism. This girl does it all. She's in a lot of places. She's also a member of the SNU, which is SNUI, the Spiritualist National Union International. So am I love it. And the ISF, the International Spiritualist Federation. And Cindy has appeared in live broadcasts with best-selling author Teza Zalacita. Cindy, is that how I pronounce it? I thought so. Okay. Wasn't too sure. A podcast episode of the Witching Hour, or half hour or so, the August 2023 issue of Paranormal Underground, as well as on CJSF Radio 90.1, which just aired October 26th of this year. And having been through an end of life, aka death doula program in 2023, Cindy is currently in development, working towards becoming a death doula. Holy smokes, Cindy. Holy smokes. Do you ever stop?
I don't.
I love it.
You can't.
I 100% agree. You can't in this work, right? Do you find, like, as you're continuing to grow and develop personally and spiritually, like there's always things that are coming up and that really kind of ignite your soul and you're like, this is the next step in my journey?
As soon as I thought, okay, I've added one last thing to my list, there's always something that comes up that the spirit will give me that nudge or to whisper in my ear, go, I think this will work for you. And is that nudge and that spirit is what keeps me going, because we work with spirit, and spirit, you have to trust spirit. And that's what I'm going with.
It's so true. I remember when I started in circle, I sat in circle for 7 years. And the first thing that the teacher, my mentor at the time, always said, you got to trust. If you don't trust, you don't have as strong a connection with the spirit world that is possible for you. And that's not always easy. I want to go back a little bit in your journey, back into your early 20s when you were having these spiritual awakenings. Could you talk a little bit about some of those experiences and how it really led you to that point in 2017 where you're like, I'm going to answer spirit's call. I'm going to follow the voice of my soul and step into this work as an intuitive, as a healer, as a medium?
We'll backtrack here a little bit further. I never set out to become anything. I was going through a career change, and that didn't happen, and this happened instead. But it all started with a fascination with me. I've always been fascinated about the spirit world and watching paranormal shows when I was a teenager. And yes, and my mother was always into it. She had her own version of woo-woo when I was like a child, and at first I saw my first apparition or ghost when I was around 7 years old, and I was allowed to talk about it. I was raised on that and not fearing what the spirit world was like. So I was fortunate enough to do that. But it all started with a fascination. And speaking of my awakenings, I was trying to feel my way around life as a teenager. So I was trying to feel my sense of belonging in some group. So I had a group of friends who were Christians, and I go, hey, they were friends, and it was church, and there's a group of gathering. They seem to be loving, and I joined their church. I became a Christian, but the awakening didn't start until after I exited that church, because I felt the more I got into it, the less I felt I belonged. If that makes any sense.
Totally.
And I felt that that wasn't me. So I had all these red flags going on, and these light bulb and aha moments happening with me. And I thought, you know what? This isn't me. This isn't right for me. So I thought, okay, I'll exit this church and find my own path. And it is not until my mid-20s that I realized that that you can be spiritual without the religion part of it. So that's where I started. I go, I'm spiritual but not religious. And I thought, wow, that was profound in my life. And I stuck with that. Until this day, I'm still spiritual but not religious.
And isn't there a sense of freedom with being able to embrace that spiritual aspect of ourselves and also the spiritual aspect of life, but not having to like confine ourselves to any dogma or doctrine or creed?
Absolutely. I didn't want to leave my life always grabbing my Bible. Did I do this wrong? Did I do that right? What did I do? What am I going to be persecuted? Oh my goodness. I felt I was always doing something wrong. Yep. And I know deep down in my soul that I was a good person. But why do I feel like I'm always doing something wrong? So that did not go well with me. So being the spiritual side of it without the religion, I felt, okay, I have my own path. We're all different souls. We all live differently, but the same, because we're all connected in some way. We're all working together towards the same goal, to leave this earth better than when you found it, right? So
I love it. And it's interesting because I was the same way. I like when you're sharing your story, I'm like, holy smokes, that's so similar to mine. Like I grew up in the Christian church,
oh
and
wow.
I was told, like, went to a private school, parents were elders in the church. And Cindy, I was seeing what they called dead people, but they weren't people without bodies since I was like 2. And my parents just didn't know how to reconcile that or cope with it. And there was just so much that didn't resonate with the doctrine in the church, and that's why I never raised my kids in it. And then I was like, I really love that connection with God, but not religion.
Exactly.
Just didn't fit for me. And it's interesting how spiritualism does offer that, but some people will take it more religious, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where did you find yourself then at that point around 2017? Like, where were you at in your life where you're like, I've got to start doing some exploring into these abilities and begin training?
I didn't I didn't sell to get some training. I just, well, for some people they consciously say, okay, I like to do this, I like to do that, and whatnot. But for me, I I took a fascination and made it a hobby instead, because I find that hobbies are more fun because they're doing it out of your interest, your own interest, rather than doing it as work. Because work, you feel like you're obligated. You got clients, you got to do this, and you got to meet expectations. So I just started as a hobby. Go, hey, this is so cool, and watching people do Reiki and having these hands-on healing and and having to be able to make the recipient feel good and balance their energy and their auras, and I thought, wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever experienced. So I thought, why not go with it, roll with it. I just kept rolling with it, as you say, you know. And fell
Well,
into it.
You know what's so interesting? So many people do that. And like for people that are listening, you're going to find that if you are getting these breadcrumbs along the way of your path and it leads you to a certain place, that is the divine leading you to where you need to be. And you don't always have to be out there searching. Sometimes it literally falls in your lap.
As
It,
they say, they in the Reiki world, Reiki finds you. You don't find Reiki.
yes,
It found
yes.
me. I go, what? Nothing ever finds me. But I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. I should do this, use it wisely, and be of service in a way, you
Yeah.
know?
I love the Reiki. I did. I mean, my listeners have heard me say this several times. It does find you, but it's interesting because I kept getting the call from the Reiki to do the training. There was something within me, Cindy. I don't know what it was. I was even a bit nervous about it. And I'm like, why? I don't know. Even though I was going for Reiki, but me actually being attuned to it, I go, what the heck? So I went to Maui, didn't realize Maui's like full of Reiki
Wow.
energy. And I
Yes.
was buzzing.
It's the epicenter.
Yeah, I had no clue. And I was vibing the whole time. I was like, holy smokes, this
Mm-hmm.
place is charged.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend who's got a place there, she's like, yeah, that's what Maui's all about. I'm like, what? Total healing island. So when I came back, I flew home in January. Literally the net I got in, I don't know, like it was like 12 hours later off the plane. I was in a weekend workshop getting my Reiki 1 and 2. And I'll tell you, it changes your life, but it's this calling and it completely transforms your life. It's not a fad. I feel like sometimes people, they have like this conception of it kind of like it's a fad. Oh, let's get our Reiki. No, no. When Reiki calls you, it's
It's
a
a journey.
it's a journey.
It's
Yeah,
it's a journey, and not only that, it's a way for you to do your own shadow work, do your own healing, so that you can walk the path of a Reiki master. It's not something to take lightly. It's something to take seriously.
definitely.
And once you get your symbols, you get initiated, um, it you have to use it in a way that it it preserves the art of integrity. There's integrity part of it, working honestly. You can't do this work if you're not honest.
100%.
Exactly.
100%. I love it. We got the same philosophy, girl.
Mhm,
Love it.
exactly.
Love
That's
it.
beautiful, beautiful. That's so awesome.
No, that resonates. How did you find yourself getting into paranormal investigations? I'd love to pick your brain about that.
Well, it's as I said, many of my things have started with a fascination as a little girl. So this fascination turned into a hobby. In terms of the paranormal investigation, I, ever since I was little, even early teens, and watching all these paranormal shows, right? Especially Asian ones, they're so super scary. And then I thought, I see these actors playing medium, contacting the spirit world. I thought that's so super cool, and I thought, it'd be cool to be able to do that. And then when I saw actual mediums, not actors, speaking to the dead, I got excited. I go, these things really existed. So so I so it was a fascination with me. And ever since then, I go, it would be cool, so cool, and even throughout my 20s, it would be so cool to be part of a team. I think I manifested this.
Definitely. I totally believe that, Cindy, because I believe like, if we have a thought
I,
and a feeling that
yes,
matches, it creates that vibration where we move into the vortex, and we manifest those desires. And it's really law of attraction. So yeah, it sounds
exactly.
like you did,
I,
love.
yeah, throughout my 20s, I thought, okay, I saw this medium talking to the dead. I thought it was very cool, and all these shows about the paranormal, going to a location that's haunted. I go, haunted? Oh my God, it's so exciting. So so as soon as I had those thoughts, I go, it would be really, really cool to be part of a team. throughout my 20s, throughout my 30s. And lo and behold, a, a team came to First United Spiritualist Church, my church, and they and happened to be there. I needed to be there for them to sign the paperwork, and they said, "Why don't you join us?" So, hell yeah! I said, "Hell yeah!" That was the biggest hell yeah I ever said in my entire life. So, I joined their investigation, and I witnessed what they did and all their equipment, and next thing I know it, they um, the weeks ahead, they had other investigations that they were booked in for, and they started inviting me out. They um, and I go, yes, 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 yes. They go, oh my goodness, Cindy, you're so enthusiastic. I go, of course I am. That's what I've
The
been
dream come
wanting.
true.
And a dream come true. Yes, I'm living my dream.
This is incredible. This is incredible. Okay, so like, what are some of like the most fascinating or like unexplainable paranormal phenomena that you've had or experienced in your investigations?
Well, a lot, okay, let's just Hollywood sensationalizes a lot of the stuff. And there's no such a thing as people screaming, running down the corridors, and all these interesting special effects, and all these camera panning, and the cameraman just screaming down the hall, and all these weird camera movements, right? That's just Hollywood. I hate to break it to your audience, but Hollywood just dramatizes everything. But in the real world, uh, one of the, I wouldn't say they're scary or anything. It's just fascinating that we were the team I'm with, Cornerstone Supernatural. I kind of plug them a little bit. We went into BC Penitentiary, and anyone knows that if you've driven through New Westminster, BC, you would see a building that looked like a castle. That used to be the old BC Penitentiary.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah, that housed prisoners, and it's been there forever. So down, so we were all gathered in a room, and we know how many investigators we have, and we were doing a spirit box session, asking spirit how many of you are around, and a bunch of questions. How many of us do you see, or what's your name? Asking spirits a bunch of questions. But we were in a room, and so the doors were closed. Everyone was in the room, and me and another investigator were sitting right beside each other. And a minute or two into our session, we turned to each other and we said, "Did you hear footsteps outside in the hallway?" And I said, "Yeah." And she also said, "Yeah, we heard the same footsteps." And we both looked around the room and go, "Everyone's in here. And the doors are locked. There shouldn't be anyone in the hallway." So we're going, wow, we were kind of freaked out, but not. We were freaking out because we were excited that we heard something that shouldn't be there. So that was we wouldn't call that scary, but it was exciting.
Definitely compelling.
Yes.
With the spirit box, Cindy,
Mhm.
what sort of messages have come through from the other side that you've been able to hear, like an audible spirit voice speaking through the box?
One of the ones that excited me was in another investigation in another location was we were asking spirit questions like, how long have you been here? And the spirit goes, long time. They don't really speak through complete sentences. They're all like one or two, maybe up to three words. And we asked it, well, how long have you been here? And he said, long time. Another question we asked it was, but do you like being here? He goes, no, it's cold. It's cold. Too cold. And
Is
we thought what's interesting, he wanted he wanted he might have passed away without a blanket, or in a very, very in a way that he didn't want to.
very
But
interesting.
yes.
So interesting. So how do you, when you're doing these investigations, not only are you an investigator, but you're also a psychic medium.
Mhm.
How does that work together? The intuitive abilities and then also the investigating. Does it help your investigation?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. We all believe, well, some of us believe that having a psychic medium on an investigation is an essential tool, because we do sense, by smelling, by clairvoyance, our hearing, tasting, and all those clairs that we use for sensing. And these senses are not like evidential mediumship, aka mental medium, where you bring forth a loved one, but instead, we we sense the energies in those locations. We are all made up of energy, so anytime, when there's imprints of these energies, they get left behind. In the case of an investigation that we did, I say we because I'm talking about me and my team, Cornerstone, that 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 we were in this room, down the basement. It was a 3-hour investigation, and an hour into it, I didn't get anything. It takes a little while for the spirit to show up, be comfortable with us. And 2 hours into it, nothing. I go, oh my goodness, I'm the medium. Why am I? I'm supposed to be doing my job. Come on out, guys. You know. Um, so so finally they started showing signs, and there's pockets of energy, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these visions. Go, okay, there's this gentleman who enjoyed being here because of this and this and this, and I sensed that this woman was part of this. We were at a museum, and she loved hanging out there, and she didn't want to leave. She was very much part of it. So so using all your senses, you're able to pick up those energies, uh, and it's very fascinating work.
Definitely.
It's very fascinating work because as a paranormal investigation team, they often use equipment and tools. You see them having cases of the cameras and the REM pods, as well as the K2 meter. But it's too bad that I don't fit into their case, because they bring me along as part of their tool part, and I am the equipment as a psychic medium.
Definitely.
Yes.
So when you're doing these investigations, is it to document like paranormal investigation, or do people call you in and say, can you figure out who or what is here and can you clear it?
We don't do clearing.
Okay.
The only reason, because some of the people that reaches out to us for investigation, they just simply want to know what's happening, whether we need to debunk it or verify that it is paranormal. And we don't do any clearing, because some of the owners or residents, they don't want to be cleared, and some of the spirits, they just like to hang out. They don't want to be cleared. We don't go there. Not all spirits want to cross over, and that's okay. And
That's
that's
a
okay.
very interesting statement that you make, because there is a lot of controversy in the spiritual community that not every single person crosses over to the other side, whether it be they're quote unquote stuck, or they've made a conscious choice to be here in the physical world or to stay here in the 3D world. And I'm curious if you could share like your philosophy based on your own experiences, because I'm pretty open to the possibility that people choose to stay here. I have, in my work as an ordained spiritualist minister, have gone with some other mediums, and we have cleared home for some people that were causing some disturbances, some spirit people that were causing some issues. And then and they were a little bit they needed some encouragement. But then there's been other spirit people that I've encountered where it's not that they're there all the time, but they like to hang out. So like where do you kind of fit in the mix with this, Cindy, based on your experiences?
I'm of the neutral nature because it all depends on the situation and all depends on the location and the people who live in that location. And it is up to the second medium to communicate with the spirit. Would you ask the spirit, would you like to cross over if they're stuck? And if they come back with the answer, yes, please help me, then yes, I would go ahead with that and help the people. But if they don't want to, only because we are energy, we have consciousness. So does spirit. Spirit has consciousness, and it is up to them, just like as humans, to make that choice. Do we want to go or not, or do the spirits want to go or not? As humans, we want to transition the spirit world, but for spirits, would they want to transition into that world as well? And let them empower them, have that choice, just like we as humans were given choices, free will. So, but if the spirits, they come back as answer, no, I don't want to leave because I love it here, why not empower them and give them that choice? And so we will, some of these spirits are only causing a disturbance just because they just want to make themselves known, to say hello. Just like your loved ones coming through in a evidential mediumship demonstration. They're just coming here to say hello. Work with them.
Yeah.
If you work with them, they'll work with you. Say, hey, you're welcome to be here. Just stop knocking things over. That's it. You know, they're not negative energy. They're not mean. They don't mean to do these things. They just want to make themselves known, just like our loved ones from the other side. As simple as that. Very.
I love it because there are so many different philosophies, and I believe like our belief systems are really based on our own experiences. And so
Precisely.
and it's really good to have other people's opinions shared because again, it really helps people feel seen and validated in their own experiences. In your work as a paranormal investigator, what would you say has been like the investigation, the big one where you're like, holy smokes, I can't believe we captured that, or we were able to witness that? Like, do you have the big one where you're like, holy smokes, something just went down and we documented it?
Oh, for sure. There's this one investigation which I personally enjoyed, was it is actually one of the most haunted locations in the world, which is the Billy Bishop Legion Hall. If your listeners Google Billy Bishop Legion Hall, you'll find that it's listed one of the top 10 Canada's haunted locations. In the world, probably the top 50, but in Canada's top 10. And one thing that I felt that was really, really, really cool about that investigation was that we found activity downstairs in the basement where the bar was. And there's two levels. There's the Legion top level, and down below there's the bar, the Billy Bishop Legion bar. So down at the bar is very active because there's a few spirits who like to hang out there, and we have captured voices like EVP voice, electronic voice phenomenon, and we have captured me and a medium were in the investigation too, and we felt that the spirit were behind us, and we felt that for me personally, I was standing right where the fireplace was, and all of a sudden I had tapped on my shoulder, and I turned around. It was like not a light tap. It's like a hard tap, as if somebody go, hey, and I turned around. There's nobody there. absolutely nobody there. And 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 it's on the same night I went upstairs because we were split into groups. I was up there and I wanted to go downstairs. And so as soon as I approached the stairway to go downstairs, I tripped. I tripped on something hard. I felt something hard unconsciously. So I turned around. I go, how did I trip on something hard when nothing was there? And so when I asked the question, I go, what was there before? And the not the owners, but the manager, one of the managers said that that very location is where somebody had died.
Wow.
So unconsciously, I picked up that there was a body. I tripped over a body that was
Oh
there
my
before.
God.
So that was profound for me.
Definitely. Definitely. Like
Go, whoa.
you can't make this stuff up.
No. So I had when I found that out, um, it sent chills down my spine and goosebumps along my arm. I go, whoa, okay. So I picked that up subconsciously because I tripped over something. I didn't know what I tripped over, but a body was there before, years and years and years ago. It wasn't recent, but years ago. So
That's
I
incredible. Because that's obviously like a really strong energy signature that's imprinted within that space.
Mhm, precisely.
Oh, that's so fascinating. So fascinating. Can you share, like, in your work as being a psychic medium and your paranormal investigative work, how has it changed or enhanced or supported your understanding of the spirit world and the afterlife?
Oh, it definitely supported my journey as a psychic medium only because it expanded my horizons and broadened my abilities to do the work as a light worker, as a spirit worker, because it stretches my abilities. Not only I can do evidential mediumship, and that's just one aspect, but this is another category of mediumship. So the ability to do my work as a psychic medium, it really gives me a learning curve each time I go in, because every time I do this, I learn something new. And anyone knows who's in this type of work know that we never stop learning. We're a forever student with the spirit world. And as soon as we thought, oh, I've done a million investigations, nothing's new to me, something comes up. Always, always.
Absolutely. Oh, it's so fascinating. For those that are listening and still like maybe they're a little bit skeptical or unsure about paranormal investigators, what is one thing that you would love to share to kind of demystify what the whole purpose of paranormal investigation is all about?
What our purpose is not to conjure up spirit, number one. We Number one rule is not to do that. Spirits don't like to be bugged or bothered, just like as humans. If we're sleeping, why are you bothering us? We will get so mad at you for even waking us up. But it's the same as with the spirits. Spirits have their own, downtime, just like humans. And if you conjure them up, you're just going to attract negative energy to your space. You're just going to not get what you wanted, and you're going to just wreak havoc in the whole situation. If you freak out, they're going to freak out, and you're not working with the light. They're not going to be working with the light. So, what that's the number one thing. Never ever go into a location want to conjure up anything. That will open up so many doors for you that you can't close.
And
You have
have you come across people who've done that and then they've, can I say, kind of reaped the consequences of their actions?
I've heard some stories, but I personally have not encountered any. I've heard some stories, and we say, what were you thinking? You go in there as an investigator to know about spirits, to know the residents of the spirits, and the spirits want to get to know you, and you want to open up that open up those doors where you want to communicate with them and have them open up to you so that we may form a story, form a relationship, rather than rather than your investigator, their spirit, we're here to cause trouble or a disturbance. That's not what an investigator does. And we have to work with honesty and integrity. So that really means we have to work in a way that the spirits would open up to us.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Totally. Absolutely. You can't go in there guns a-blazing and start yelling and screaming and demanding they come out. Like, they're still people and they deserve respect and compassion and love.
Precisely.
And I love the philosophy that you and your team use when you are approaching these investigations, because it's also letting the other side know that there are people, if need be, that are available to help them, to communicate with them, to share their stories, to be understood. And it's another form of allowing the two worlds to communicate.
Exactly. You're still bringing the two worlds together, the spirit world and our world. It's just differently at different level. You want to understand them, they want to understand you. And you're not there to, we need to have the spirit world to understand that we're not here to hurt them.
Yeah.
We're not here to hurt them. We just want to communicate with you. Simple as that.
So tips for anybody who is interested in becoming a paranormal investigator, what would you suggest? Like, before they even get into this, is there maybe some questions they need to ask themselves? And if they, if they get the answers where they're like, okay, I'm going to step forward in this, any suggestions?
Number one rule is to have an open mind. Always an open mind, because you never know what you're going to get. And number two is always bring protection, protect yourself. I always protect yourself by doing a prayer beforehand, or as simple as asking our creator, our spirit team to surround ourselves with the golden white light, because some of the spirits are so used to people going to locations wanting to conjure them up and making them mad, that whenever another investigator or other people or other energies enter their space, they get defensive and they causing disturbance, and you feel like that they're evil or negative, but they're not. They're just like humans. They go, you're in my space, I don't want anything to do with you. But you have to get them to trust you. So work with the light, work with the love, and you'll bring better outcomes and results that you want.
Great.
And
these are great tips.
And number three,
yeah,
make sure you're a night owl. Make sure you're a night owl, because the majority of the investigations I have done were at nighttime. In the case of the Bill Bishop one was from, I believe it was 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
And why is that? Why are the investigations done at night? Is it because activity is increased, or is it because like the night vision cameras can pick stuff up? Like, how does that work?
Even though investigation can be done either broad daylight or nighttime, but for me personally, nighttime is more spooky. It's more fun. It's more fun. It's like, oh wow, it's playtime. Let's go out and play and learn about what the spirit world has in store for us.
It's incredible. Cindy, it's been so awesome to be able to connect with you and have you share your story, your journey, and then this work with being a paranormal investigator. I mean, I could sit here and ask so many questions more about
we can go on and on.
Done. It's so incredible. I find it so absolutely fascinating, but what really lands for me is like your why, your philosophy of why you're doing the work and how you approach it with such integrity and love towards the spirit world, because sadly, we don't always see that with, fellow investigators.
No, you have to approach it with love and compassion. like I said earlier, that these spirits were people too, and we have to respect them. Their energies, just like us. It
Definitely.
doesn't. I know many psychic mediums. They don't want to do paranormal investigations because they think that they're of the lower vibration. But hey, people have lower and higher vibrations as well.
Yeah,
I believe
exactly.
there's no such thing as, oh, they're evil spirits, we can't go there. But people can be evil, people can be good,
Yep,
spirits too.
absolutely. Cindy, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you?
You can get in touch with me via my Facebook page, Soul Provider Healing Arts and Spiritual Works. And you will know it's me because I have a picture of myself, and the logo has a Buddha on it.
And you'll find this in the show notes, everybody.
Mhm.
So get in touch with Cindy if you have a location perhaps that needs to be investigated, or if you're wanting to contact her for healing or a reading, get in touch with her.
Oh,
Cindy,
absolutely.
yeah.
I go my healings. I come to your home.
Oh,
I come to your home. I'm a mobile healer, so feel free to contact me, and I'll be right there.
oh, that's incredible. I didn't know
Mhm,
that. Good to
mhm.
know.
Good to know.
It's been so amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your story and your journey and your wisdom with my listeners. It's been amazing.
It is. It has been amazing. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.